playing time. In 2003, Hope made her professional debut with the Philadelphia Charge, but shortly after that moved over to Sweden to play for the Swedish club Gothenburg. While in Europe, Hope was selected as an alternate for the US Olympic team in 2004, which is still a great honor. Then during the 2005 season, Hope became the starting goalie, a role she would fill for the next 11 years. The USA women's national soccer team has been a dominant force since the 90s. Whether it's the World Cup or the Olympic Games, they are always considered to be potential finalists. During Hope's run as the starting goalkeeper, the team saw great success. In 2007, the USA placed third in the FIFA World Cup. In 2008, at the Olympic Games, they placed first, taking home the gold medal. In 2011, they played second in the World Cup, then took home another gold medal in the 2012 Olympic Games. And in 2015, they defeated Japan 5-2 and became World Cup champions. Hope Solo has 202 games as the USA goalie. Out of those 202 games, the USA only lost 11 of those games with her in the goal, and 102 of those games were shutouts. Some argue that she is the greatest American goalie of all time, yet despite her numerous accolades,
Welcome back. We back with another reaction video. This is part 2 of the Patrick CC video, The Horrible Crimes of Soccer's Biggest Psychopath, Hope Solo. Let's get right back into it. She just beat up her nephew and her sister-in-law. Wait, half-sister. Yeah, a half-sister. At this point, what do we do? Because she didn't talk to the police like, you're lucky you're arresting me. I really get money. I'm with that. Like, bro, what does that have to do with you assaulting your family members, bro? What's wrong with you?
From her Nike sponsor, nor was she suspended from professional soccer, even though countless male athletes were dropped after similar allegations. Many people believe the media was extremely soft on her, but others say they were just waiting to see how the trial panned out to take any action. Hope was initially charged with 2 counts of 4th-degree domestic violent assault, to which she pleaded not guilty on all charges. Eventually, the court dismissed the case after the judge claimed the victims were uncooperative, but the victims disagreed. They claimed they cooperated as much as possible, but because the charges were dropped to the public, Hope was innocent. Yet, less than a week after her charges were dropped, Hope found herself in another major alcohol-induced controversy. Hope Solo's husband was driving a U.S. soccer van when he was arrested for DUI at 1:30 a.m. on a Monday. Police said Solo was in the car at the time, but she was not arrested nor detained. Because of this incident, she was suspended from U.S. soccer for 30 days. Hope was interviewed on ABC News to discuss both of these major mistakes. This is her addressing the domestic assault.
So I'm not going to go into all of the details. I was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of my 17-year-old nephew who is 6'9", 280 pounds.
Bro, you telling me a 6'9", bro? You said the nigga was, well, she said he was fat, but you said he was not athletic, bro. You telling me he's 6'9", 280 and not athletic? That sounds like the biggest piece of crap I've ever. And then not even that, but the fact that you saying this nigga is 6'9", 280, and again, Patrick CC just wrote down the reports in the first part of this. Like, nigga, you were throwing hands with this nigga. There's no way when he got you on the ground, there's no way you at 5'9" was able to grab this nigga here if he's 6'9". You're capping on Jesus Christ. Like, what are we talking about? And then the punches shouldn't have been nothing. He should have been. You telling me you slam his head on the concrete and he's, bro? There's no way, bro. There's no way. Like, bro, he's not 6'9", bro. She lied, bro. There's no way.
I was struck over the head and concussed pretty severely. It was a very scary night.
So then she addressed the DUI.
What in the world were you thinking?
Why would I need to stick if I'm 6'9"?
Well, clearly I wasn't thinking. It was a horrible choice. I think I just wasn't in a good place emotionally to even make good decisions. I mean, it's not an excuse, but it was stupid. We should have called a taxi.
I could only imagine, Hope, that you must be on a roller coaster of emotions.
I'm working through those emotions. You know, I was filled with anger, and
Gail, what are you doing?
Finally
Cook.
able to sit down, talk to somebody about what
Gail,
I've been
that's,
going through and the very
what's her name?
traumatic events over the last
Robin.
year. And just being able to speak to somebody has been really beneficial for me.
And of course, she hit everyone with the classic,
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes, and I want people to be able to forgive me if they're willing to do so.
and after that, it was almost like it all never happened. Her fans forgave her, understood.
Yo, I might really hate that. I'm just human. It's just because it's like, bro, you know, accountability is a thing, and when y'all say that, of course you appeal to the human side of everybody. Like, of course we all human, we all make mistakes, but like, if you keep making mistakes in succession, is it a mistake, or are those just choices that you made that you don't care about realistically?
She's just human, and we're ready for her to get back out on the field. But the Washington State Court actually reversed the previous court decision to drop the charges and reopen the case against Solo. All of those graphic details and photos of her violent outburst were finally released to the public, but by then, the media had already moved on, and they didn't care to talk about it anymore. Hope and her legal team delayed the case for 3 years by appealing countless times. Basically, they delayed their trial and played the system until 2018, when the victims eventually just gave up and wanted to move on with their lives. Hope Solo officially beat another scandal. To make things better for her, the USA women's national team won the 2015 FIFA World Cup, which was a legendary feat. She was on top of the world, but the damage had been done, and real soccer fans and her teammates could see through the mask. And in 2016 at the Rio Olympic Games, she got herself in enough trouble that would formally end her career. During the Rio Olympic Games, Hope tweeted these two images of what looked like a doomsday supply of mosquito repellent, as well as her wearing a bug protective suit. She used the hashtag ZikaProof. These tweets seem like jokes, but the repellent was her way of trying to protect herself from the Zika virus, which is spread by mosquitoes. And if you remember my Ryan Lochte video, then you know how Brazilians were not playing around with anyone who was claiming their country is not safe. The Zika virus wasn't a huge deal in the United States, but the state of Rio de Janeiro had recorded 26,000 suspected Zika cases.
Brother, I'm sorry, I not to offend your country, but nigga, if niggas is catching the Zika virus, I'm not trying to catch that. I'm just saying.
Virus has flu-like symptoms that most healthy people will be able to get through. It has been proven to cause a severe birth defect that results in babies born with abnormally small heads and underdeveloped brains. When addressing her tweets, Hope said that her and her husband were trying for a baby and she was worried it could possibly affect them. I would never take the risk of having an unhealthy child. I don't know when that day will come for Jeremy and me, but I personally reserve the right to have a healthy baby. Nobody knows if this was true or if she was just trying to do damage control after her joke tweets failed to make people laugh. Whenever Hope was on the field during the games, people in the stands would regularly shout Zika whenever she touched the ball.
How was that funny though?
And also were not afraid to boo her. Many of Hope's fans felt that people were overreacting, and protecting herself from mosquitoes is totally normal and understandable. Yet 8 years later, people still comment on her Instagram Zika to make fun of her. Likely agitated by the boos from the Brazilian crowds, Hope expressed her frustration to the media again. This time, her comments would land her a suspension, and then send her into retirement. After the women's USA team lost to the Swedish national team in a penalty shootout, Hope said, "I'm very proud of this team, but I also think we played a bunch of cowards. The best team did not win today. I don't think they're going to make it far in the tournament. I think it was very cowardly, but they won." Hope's comments reinforced to people that she was a sore loser. Calling another team cowards for out-strategizing your team in a sports competition is just silly. Plus, Sweden went on to play in the championship final, proving that they were pretty damn good. The media exploded with criticism for Hope. Ironically, this was her largest publicized controversy, with every major news article covering her rude comments and resurfacing her past domestic violence and DWI controversies. The pressure was at an all-time high, and U.S. Soccer had to do something. In a statement, U.S. Soccer President Sunil Gulati said that the comments were unacceptable and do not meet the standard of conduct we require from our national team players, before slapping her her with a 6-month suspension. The U.S. Soccer president said that this suspension does take into account her previous actions. However, it seems like U.S. Soccer only suspended her because of the major media backlash and not because they actually felt she was wrong.
Well,
and of course, Hope didn't think she did anything wrong either.
Terminated contract, not just a suspension.
How can they do both?
It's both. 17 f***ing years and it's over.
She also wrote a formal statement saying that she was disappointed with the Federation's actions, but she did not apologize. Even her longtime teammate Abby Wambach was surprised it took this long for her to get suspended.
But if we go back 10 years, if she's 10 years younger and she makes this comment, is she suspended by USA Soccer? Or fired?
I don't know, because I think that the suspension was a Lifetime Achievement Award, right?
Bars.
Well, it was. I mean, in terms of her longevity on the team and how many mistakes and stuff that she made, you know, and I'm not judging her because, listen, I've made mistakes also, but for her, I think it was a compilation of all these things happening. So 10 years ago, I don't think she's made all those mistakes, right? And so I think that in the end is why U.S. Soccer decided to suspend her.
And during her suspension, Hope decided to do some press about the situation and further claimed that her comments were taken out of context.
If anybody actually listened to the interview, and I'm not sure if you have, but it was I wasn't enraged, I wasn't emotional, I wasn't angry. I just had this conversation with all of the journalists in the room after the game, and we were talking about the style of play. We weren't talking about, you know, I didn't mean to come across that the players were cowards or the coach was a coward. I meant the style of play it wasn't very Olympic spirited.
She actually insinuated that the U.S. Soccer Federation suspended her for a different reason.
There are more layers to it that I don't think everybody quite understands. I believe the Federation used my comment saying the word coward to terminate me.
It was about more than
Now, real quick, do you think that Hope is going to tell them about her multiple controversies that involve alcohol, maybe her domestic violence case, or years of disrespectful tweets and off-color statements about the soccer industry? Of course not.
it was about more
Responsibility,
than
what's that?
that comment.
I've been fighting for, I'm sure you guys have all heard that I've been fighting for equal pay. And I've been
That's why you got
the
terminated?
lead voice behind the push for equal pay. In fact,
Look
in
at
all the
Tyra
court
Banks'
documents,
big
it says Hope
forehead
Solo versus United States Soccer Federation.
Hope heavily insinuates that she was terminated not because of her own words and actions, but rather her involvement in trying to get female soccer players equal pay as they male players.
Not only do we bring in more money for the Federation than the men's team, but it's federal law. It's the Equal Pay Act. You have the same employer doing the same job, putting in the same amount of time. We're more successful at it than our men's team.
Winning.
Now, the gender pay gap is a deeply discussed issue across all countries that includes so many detailed nuances and laws to consider that trying to explain just the U.S. soccer pay situation requires an entire video of its own. But generally speaking, yes, women's soccer players did get paid less while generating about the same amount of money in the years 2016, 2017, and 2018. And yes, Hope Solo led the charge speaking up for women's soccer and trying to get them equal pay. But now that she embarrassed her team with her comments and got suspended, she was all alone. She filed a complaint in 2016 with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission that alleged wage discrimination by the Soccer Federation.
Unfortunately, you are the person that is getting this knife, through you, but at the same time, it's going to open up so much. And you are that Martin Luther King of women's soccer.
Martin Luther King.
Martin was a wild boy too, so maybe. Yeah, you're toxic. I'm just saying that nigga got crazy too. That's all I'm saying. He got crazy too.
Soccer is crazy, but now Hope's life mission was entirely different. Crazy. She retired from the game and was now fully dedicated to her activism. In 2018, she sued the U.S. Soccer Federation, accusing the governing body of neglecting youth soccer development for the sake of self-serving financial gain.
So, soccer in America right now is a rich white kid sport. And then we have to ask ourselves, well, no wonder why we are not qualifying for the World Cup. when we have alienated a huge population of really talented youth soccer players.
Then a few days later, she even tried to run for president of the company she was suing. But what's interesting is that in 2019, 28 women's national team players sued the U.S. Soccer Federation without consulting Hope Solo first.
Wait, stop. We ain't gotta tell that bit nothing.
Hope had been discussing this issue for years now, and they came together to sue the USSF for the same exact reasons that Hope did. So it makes you question, why didn't they come to her or include her? And in light of this new lawsuit filed by the 28 players, the USSF has sought dismissal of Solo's lawsuit. Hope tried to get the government to consolidate their lawsuits together so they could just settle one case and she could be included with the team. Without her present, Solo warned, the players might back down and surrender. But the US women's national team did not want Hope Solo involved. This is extremely telling what her previous colleagues think of her. Perhaps all those years of dealing with her controversies, they figured it would be impossible to get her to remain calm and calculated while facing this litigation. They probably figured she would mess it up somehow. But in 2022, the
Damn. They say, yeah, but we generating enough views, we getting the revenues. Give us the bread too.
U.S. women's national team made a $24 million settlement.
Respect. Now, if only the WNBA could start popping off.
With the USSF and agreed to formulate a new contract between the federation and the players. This was a groundbreaking advancement into the future of the game, but Hope Solo disagreed. This settlement is not a huge win. It's heartbreaking and infuriating. A promise of equal pay from the federation and back pay for a select group of players isn't equal pay, and it's not what this fight was about. Hope was defeated. She felt that everything she had worked so hard for was stolen from her and settled for pennies. She was now fighting her lawsuit alone, and 1 month after the 28 women settled, she was found passed out drunk in a Walmart parking lot with the engine running and her 2-year-old twins in the back seat. As police approached the vehicle, they noticed the car was on and running. When they knocked, Hope was jolted awake from being passed out behind the wheel. As soon as the officer started talking to Solo, he noticed the smell of alcohol on her breath and asked her multiple times, "How much have you had to drink tonight?" Every time she was asked, she denied drinking at all. The officers patiently tried to get her to present her ID for 5 minutes while she ignored them, scrolled her phone, and even called her husband. As Solo sees the situation is escalating, she finally hands over her ID, but still refuses to comply with the officers.
Step out of the car so I can make sure you are sober and able to be a competent adult in front of these kids.
I am a competent adult.
Okay, then step out of the car.
Can you tell me why?
Because you smell like alcohol.
That's fine,
and you're
but
passed
I'm
out
not
in the
driving.
car
I
with the
took a nap.
car on. So step out of the vehicle. I'm not asking you again.
I would like to call my attorney.
Step out of the car.
Hope refused all roadside alcohol tests, so the officer
BS aside and all the bullshit she went through, she kind of abusing the kids a little bit right now. Neglect bare minimum, but I'm happy she was able to have kids. Yay. Not if you're gonna treat them bad, but I mean, you had kids at like 20. I mean, not 20. You had kids at like 35. You're a miracle.
Officers got a warrant to draw her blood and arrested her on suspicion of DUI. The test showed her alcohol level was 0.24, which is 3 times the legal limit, and she also tested positive for THC. As the officer guides her to her car by grabbing her bicep, she threatens to file a false claim.
I don't need you to touch me.
Alright, let's go.
I can walk by myself.
Well, make sure that
Oh my god, you don't need to touch me.
Alright, that's fine.
Alright, that's cool. Because I will have a complaint that you touched me inappropriately. Do not touch me.
Then she continued to berate the officers the entire time she was detained.
You trying to get your arm
Like
what?
what?
Your arm, shorty.
You are loving this, aren't you?
No, I hate it.
No, you love it. You love every moment of this. But these police officers are a bunch of everything you thought was okay, but the young, unintelligent. I'm so sorry you had nothing else to do tonight. So I hope I was very entertaining for you, because I know I was. I know that I blessed you with my presence. That's what I did.
Hope was charged of driving while intoxicated and pled guilty. The 40-year-old was sentenced to 30 days in jail, a 24-month license suspension, as well as a $2,500 fine, but she received a 30-day jail credit for submitting herself to an inpatient rehab center. She acknowledged her mistake on Instagram and recognized that alcohol was a destructive part of her life. She said, "I continue to be a student of the greatest school called life, and I will continue to learn and grow from these experiences. I will continue to gain empathy, knowledge, and stories to share. I consider this a gift to pass it on to others."
You talking about the woman that played victim? The woman that capped on her nephew being 6'9", 280? The woman that slammed that nigga head into the cement multiple times and beat up her sister? You will continue to gain empathy. All right.
Others because pain shared is pain lessened. People were angry that she did not apologize, but rather used this as a way to again boost herself up some more. She even spoke about the situation on her podcast, where she claims this incident came from postpartum depression.
Speaking to my counselor while in treatment, and after studying my own behavior and habits and struggles throughout the pandemic, I learned about the varying levels of postpartum depression. I also came to realize that I completely lost touch with myself and even with my marriage. I put myself last. Sure, I needed some help, but I also knew that I didn't need it to survive.
It's hard to admit when we're wrong, and truthfully, no matter how much you apologize or how you apologize, you will still have angry people in your comments and people saying it's not good enough. But celebrities often go into deep psychological detail about their lives as soon as major controversies come up. They go on podcasts and talk about them being just human and not perfect, hoping to gain empathy from their supporters. And over the years, they seem less genuine and more like repetitive PR statements. Hope Solo was inducted into the Soccer Hall of Fame after this DWI incident. And yes, she deserves to be considered a soccer legend because
she's a Hall of Famer still, even through all the brrr. But like, man, you could also just be a better person so that way you could be a role model as a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Is Karl Malone in the Hall of Fame? If he is, the Hall of Fame's trash. That was random.
She is one, but I think it's pretty clear the media has been soft on her over the years. Why? I'm not sure. Is she a narcissist with dangerously erratic behavior who is unable to admit when she's wrong? Or is she just a boisterous girl boss whose controversies are simply misunderstanding?
Bro, you just said the same Ross Clark thing. Yeah, that was the end of the horrible crimes of soccer's biggest psychopath. It might be bigger ones that we just don't know him yet. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Stay safe, y'all. I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, ain't to live is to come. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See these games turn me into a monster. Hey, I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, to live is to come. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See these games turn me into a monster. I'm a cowboy, can't stop. Hey, all that pain got me feeling jaded. Many to roll when to make it. Still plugged into the mix, but lagging out before the update. Drop back in different times, same location.